Alright, shalom and welcome to GMS Info Doc channel. What is this, 4?
4, probably 5.
Yeah, it don't matter. They're going to keep taking them down. We're going to keep putting them up. You know, Lord's will until the time comes for the famine of the word to come. Now, tonight's topic is going to be an economic collapse in America will bring total chaos. Now, the reason why we're dealing with this particular topic is because, as you know it, now, what's today? May 22nd, yeah. May 22nd, 2012. And as you take a look around in the media, well, not the American media, of course, mainly in different media from Europe and Asia and different other parts of the world, you see that there's like an economic failure going on around the world. And the reason why this is happening is because it's part of prophecy. And when this particular dollar here in America, when them nations stop using the dollar and the dollar actually collapses, you're going to see a lot of things happening in this country, you know, and around the world too. Because the one thing that the dollar is going to bring, which is it's already here, is inflation, but it's also going to bring hyperinflation. And when hyperinflation hits, the prices are going to be so high that it's going to take you a whole lot more dollars to purchase something that you might have purchased with $1, you know, just a year ago, or just 6 months ago, or just 4 months ago, or just 3 days ago. All right, so that's what the economy of this society is heading to, and that's why Elder Tahar always tells you, brothers, you know, to keep in tune with the financial news and things that's happening, because things are not just happening here in America, they're happening around the world. And pretty much the dollar is one of the things that's causing a lot of these panics around the world. Now in the Eurozone, they're really doing bad. They're doing bad. Greece, Spain, you know, Italy, Ireland, you know, Portugal, all those are the main European countries that are doing bad. You know, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at some documents online.
And I got something for you, just briefly.
Yeah, bring it out.
It's going back what the brother said. This is off of Reuters.
Excuse me.
Right, from Paris. It says, the United States and Japan are leading a fragile, developed world recovery that could be blown off course if Europe fails to contain the damage from its problem debtor states. The OECD said on Tuesday. It urged Eurozone leaders to embrace all options for tackling the crisis, potentially including common bonds to go with the common currency. In its twice yearly economic outlook, the Paris-based Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development forecast that global growth would ease to 3.4% this year from 3.6% in 2011. Before accelerating to 4.2% in 2013, in line with this last estimate from last November, which basically means, in other words, is worse than what it was. The economy in these other states is worse than what it was last year, and they're saying that they need to do something basically to make it forecast to be better.
Basically to level it out. Because if they can't level it out, what's going to happen is there's going to be an implosion through the currencies in these different nations. And that's one of the things that keeps a country or an empire up, is their economy. Because if you don't have an economy, you don't have an army. If you're not paying the army, they're not going to go out there and voluntarily fight for you if they're not making any money off of it. So if you don't have any finances, you can't control your army, or you can't pay your army to defend against other countries. You can't keep your society going, because you need money to keep the system going, to keep, you know, the Senate and the Congress and all this other stuff going. There's all type of inner infrastructure works going on within your country that keeps your government going. And all this stuff takes what? Money, finances. So if you don't have those things, that's going to bring about what? Chaos. Because eventually those people that are not getting paid, they're going to leave off the job that they're doing, and that's going to cause a decay You know, whether it be in the infrastructure, whether it be in the Congress, or whether it be on the police departments, or whatever government functions out there get this so-called money.
Yep, and it started already economically throughout the whole world. I'm just going to read one more verse, two more verses. It says, Gurria said that the public finances were fragile and in some cases in dire straits in OECD countries. A perception that the burden of the economic crisis had not been fairly shared was fueling a confidence crisis, and European leaders should consider all possible measures to mend the bloc's debt problems. A bad outcome scenario in the euro area with implications for the rest of the world cannot be ruled out.
The US dollar is the kingpin in the global economy, and its continuing devaluation is destined to impact the rest of the world. If that devaluation is sudden, I suspect many people will be blindsided and panic. It could happen at any time with the right trigger. It could happen on any ordinary day on Wall Street, even a day like today. The Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P 500 are all up. Gold and silver are at all-time highs, and U.S. unemployment is officially at 11%. The U.S. dollar is in decline. The Federal Reserve prepares to do its quantitative easing trick at the Wednesday bond auction, pushing the dollar down even more. China announces they won't buy more U.S. notes until the U.S. stops devaluing its currency. The news hits the wire, and a nervous Wall Street shudders. Over the weekend, the president holds private meetings with the Federal Reserve and G20 leaders. On Sunday, the Asian markets open and go into instant meltdown in response to China's rejection of U.S. bonds. The Asian markets quickly drop 5%, then 6%, then 7%, then slip into free fall. Other currencies start to slip, and soon an avalanche of sell orders sends markets around the world spiraling down. A few hours later, Monday's opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange triggers mayhem. People dump stocks and sink everything into precious metals and commodities. In minutes, gold jumps 300 an ounce, then 400 an ounce. Silver quadruples. Everyone wants to sell, but no one has any liquidity except China and the Middle East. European countries raise interest rates by 3 or 4% to attract buyers, but there are few takers. Unprecedented competition for the remaining global liquidity forces volatile markets down even further. A half hour after the New York Stock Exchange opens, its computer circuits pop under a deluge of sell orders. Wall Street computers freeze, and trading is halted for the entire day. Tuesday morning still sees circuits jammed with sell orders, and the New York Stock Exchange is unable to open. With no buyers, the market is dead. The Federal Reserve announces a hike in U.S. interest rates to attract bond buyers and generate liquidity. Global markets don't like the hike, but stabilize somewhat, although they are still down 6 to 7% from Friday's close. Just 2 hours after the Fed's rate hike, buyers return, and the NYSE is able to open. Throughout the week, global markets take a beating before they find new support levels. But in spite of the U.S. interest rate hike, global confidence in the U.S. dollar continues to erode. Gold and silver continue to rise. Palladium hits a high. Global currencies keep falling. By the close of Friday, traders around the world are walking on eggshells and having a hard time sleeping. That weekend, the Fed meets again with the president, then announces a second interest rate hike. Currency markets instantly respond. Banks in Western Europe hike interest rates in sync with the United States. On Sunday, China has first crack at the higher yield U.S. bonds, but buyers are still scarce. By now, the public is definitely aware that something is wrong. Desperate people begin to panic, and there are a lot of desperate people. On Monday, the opening bell at the NYSE triggers a glimpse of hell. Traders around the world become net sellers of equities, bonds, and Western currencies. Everyone wants out at the same time. Panic and confusion sweep the globe, and markets are in free fall again. This time, nothing stops them. Within minutes, electronic trading systems around the world short-circuit under the load of sell orders. The NYSE shudders to a halt in what will become known as the Great Wall Street Freeze. As billions of dollars in wealth vaporize, the shock ripples throughout the international financial world. Stunned by the devastation, some traders choose oblivion. Others obsess about how to recoup their losses if and when the market reopens. Others join the rash of suicides. Others slip away quietly and are never heard from again. What can be done? World markets need a solution fast to get going again. The solution will look like nothing we've seen before. In an emergency meeting, the International Monetary Fund and G20 leaders conclude that the quickest way to jumpstart the paralyzed markets is to restructure all westernized debt in one fell swoop, set new international lending policies, and issue a global common currency. A spokeswoman for the IMF G20 coalition announces that all the global governments are aligned on a solution and have everything under control. There is no need to panic. Of course, panic sweeps the globe, and we see a massive social breakdown. Over the next 24 hours, most nations activate their police and militia to quell scared and angry rioters. People empty their ATMs and food stores, loot gun shops, and run banks into the ground. The damage to life and property becomes staggering. Just 9 days after the Great Wall Street Freeze, militia and police around the world managed to quell the riots, and governments began to tally the damage. In the United States, thousands are killed and injured, and property damage is in the many billions. 14 days following the bond auction that triggered the crash of the US dollar, every major exchange has lost vast value, and some of the smaller exchanges are completely flattened. The financial world is in shock. But elsewhere, the fisherman still fishes, and the farmer still hoes his fields, and the baker still bakes his bread. After nearly 2 weeks of intense meetings, the IMF G20 coalition hammers out the solution. They announce the formation of a temporary global unification exchange system, or GES, to oversee a restructuring of the international economy. GES issues a new coin of the realm, engraved with a unifying motto: Unus Familius Plurus, Plurus Familius Unus. One serving many, many serving one. The world now shares a common currency. Next, GES mandates that all nations immediately cease printing their money and prepare for a global currency exchange and debt reset.
Just 14 days. You know, that's a fairly short time frame for these type of changes to work their way through the global economic system. And of course, this is all conjecture, but make no mistake, we've already seen significant changes in our international economy, and more changes are on the horizon.
Right, because basically what they want to bring in through this New World Order is you know, they want to bring a one world currency, but this one world currency that they want to bring, they don't really want to bring like a physical or tangible thing, even though that's what they'll tell you. They really want to bring what? The microchip.
Yeah, that's right.
Because through the microchip, or through credit cards or microchip or any type of transaction that way, they can basically keep track of your finances, of what you have, what you don't have, what you buy. That's really what they want. So that's why they want the RFID or the chip to implant into people, so when you buy something, they know what you're buying, and when you go about in your everyday life or wherever you may be at,